and welcome back to my kitchen. If you followed the last 3 videos, you know that I was on a quest to complete 4 videos in one night for the things that we were going to be eating for Christmas. Well, I was able to get 3 of those videos up: cornbread, turnip greens, and the macaroni and cheese. And the final installment of that will be done tonight. Well, today, it's Christmas Day here. And it is going to be my cornbread dressing recipe. So if you want to see a truly southern and truly delicious recipe for cornbread dressing, stay tuned. Alrighty, y'all. We know that no holiday meal is complete without the dressing. So that is the final thing that I'm going to make for you guys today. So we're going to jump right into it and review the ingredients that I use. So this is my cornbread. And if you're interested in how I make my cornbread, there is a video. I'll link it in the description bar below this one. Then I have 2 stalks of celery, bell pepper, onion. These are some chicken thighs that I boil down in a few seasonings. Black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, a little bit of salt. And then after boiling those down, this is the chicken broth that I took off of those. These eggs up front, they're actually 2 boiled eggs. They are not raw eggs. I'll show you what I do with those as we get to the end of this process. I use black pepper in my dressing. And then I use 2 cans. I use a cream of celery and I use a cream of chicken. Y'all are just going to have to ignore Legend in the background. I can't stop this right now. He is in his kennel and I don't think he's too happy about that. So black pepper. You cannot make dressing without some sage. So I have rubbed sage. Back here are the drippings off of the turkey breast that I cooked earlier today. Now, this chicken broth is just on reserve. And that is just in case I need it. I probably won't with the amount of broth and things that I have. But that one is just on reserve. I prefer to use one off of actual chicken that I made, because I'm going to shred this chicken up and use it in the dressing. So I'm going to hop right into it. I'm going to get these veggies diced up, cooked up, and then I'm going to go ahead and saute those out, and then we'll be back. Alright, y'all, I'm back. I have my vegetables sauteed, and I am going to drop, that was probably about 3 tablespoons of butter in this pan and let it heat up real quick. When this heats up, I'm going to take that celery, onion, and bell pepper that I diced up, and I'm going to saute it here in this pan. Now, I do this 2 ways. Sometimes I saute it in butter. Sometimes I boil it. When I boiled those chicken thighs, I would have dumped it in there. So you can do it either way that you like. I just did it this way this time because it worked better for the video of you actually seeing that process. So once this butter melts, I'm going to go ahead and get these vegetables in here, and we're going to get those softened up. So the butter is mostly melted. I'm going to go ahead and dump all of the vegetables down off in there. Now, whatever I don't use for the dressing, I can just use when I make the giblet gravy. So I go ahead and I cook it all. It's not that big a deal to me. So I'm going to go ahead and let these start to soften down, and then I will be back. Okay, so these have been on about 4 minutes or so, and they're starting to get translucent. Now I'm going to cook these probably at least another 5 minutes because I don't like crunchy vegetables in my dressing. I like for them to be soft and just kind of mellow in with everything else. So I'm going to cook these for it because, like, see, I can't cut. It took a lot for me to cut that onion. with that spoon. So they still need to go for just a little bit longer. Alright, so they've been on, the vegetables have been on for probably about 8 to 10 minutes. And they are now at that point where I like them. So they're pretty translucent, and then I can actually cut one with my spoon fairly easy. So that's what I like. So I'm just going to remove them from the heat. Turn that off. And then we're going to get started with our next phase. Okay, so now it's time to get ready to assemble our dressing. And I am wearing gloves because this process is much easier with your hands. And I wear acrylic nails, so sometimes when I'm in the kitchen, I use gloves for things that, you know, I don't want, one, to get stuck up under them, and two, just for kind of sanitation purposes, because I wear the nails, and I wear, like, things on them sometimes. So, yeah, the gloves just help with that, so that's why I'm wearing them. So the first thing you have to do is get your cornbread. Again, my cornbread was cooked last night, and you have to get that all crunched up and into your bowl. And like I said, it just works better with my hands. By the time I'm done, all of my bread will be super fine. I don't like lumpy dressing. I like nice smooth dressing. So yeah, by the time I'm done, that is my goal. So I'm just gonna dump the rest of this out of this skillet. Down off in there. Now, I won't be cooking the dressing in this skillet because when you make dressing, once you add all of those extra ingredients to it, you're gonna end up with more than you had from the cornbread you cooked. So most of the time you can't go back and cook your dressing in the same pan you cooked the cornbread in, just because it's going to be more dressing than there was cornbread. So, alright, once I get this tossed up nicely, we'll get ready to move on to the next step. I'm gonna go ahead and dump my chicken, and this time I just shredded the chicken up with a fork. Sometimes I'll use my Ninja and I will crunch it up really fine, but tonight I just didn't even bother with that. You know, I was okay with having chunks of chicken in there. And again, this was 3 chicken thighs that I boiled, and I got the chicken broth off of those when I boiled them. So next, I'm gonna take those veggies, and I'm taking about half of those veggies and putting them in here, a little over half. Alright, and I can look at that now and tell, I'm gonna go ahead and put all those veggies in here. So it was about a cup of veggies each. Well, it was probably about a half a cup of celery, because it was 2 stalks of celery, 1 bell pepper, and then 1 medium-sized onion. So I'm gonna give that a little bit of a stir. Alright, now I'm gonna go in with the soups. The reason why I don't add salt to this, and then I was really careful with adding salt to the chicken, is because these soups contain a lot of sodium. So this one is the cream of celery. So I dumped that entire can in. And then this one is the cream of chicken. So I dumped that can in. So this is 2 cans of soup. And you'll adjust the amount of soup based on how much bread you have. So I'm just using 1 can of each tonight. But I would adjust that if I had more bread. So gonna give that a quick stir. Now, the first thing I'm gonna go in with is some of that turkey broth. I told you I took the turkey broth off of a turkey breast that I cooked. So I'm gonna go in with some of that. So that's about a half a cup of that. And all of the juices and flavorings from the turkey, and I stuffed that turkey breast with onions, celery, and bell pepper. So all of those flavors cook down in that juice. So I'm gonna give it a peek. All right. The next thing I'm gonna do is go in with about a cup of that chicken broth. So that's the chicken broth that I took off of the chicken I boiled. I'm gonna give it a stir. Now at this point, I'm ready to go in with my black pepper. And this black pepper is going to be to your taste. I can't tell you how much black pepper to use. And when you make dressing this way, everything that I put into my dressing is cooked. So once I get to a certain point in this, I am going to taste it. So I'm able to taste my dressing as I go along because everything that I put in it has been cooked. I'm going to take some more of that chicken broth, probably about another cup, and put it in there. Now, in the initial mixing stages of my dressing, it's pretty moist. Some people might say it's wet, but once it cooks up, it's going to be super firm. And, well, it's going to be drier, but it's not going to be dry. It's going to be juicy. It's going to be moist. It's going to be the kind of dressing you actually want to eat. So now I'm going to go in with sage. I like sage. I honestly feel like you can't cook dressing without sage. But the thing about sage is you need to be careful. Sage is a very, very strong, very strong spice. So I put probably about 1/4 of a teaspoon in. And I'm going to give that a stir. Alright. Now, at this point, I'm going to give it a taste. I do have one more thing to put in, but I'm going to give it a taste and check my spices. So, I'm going to go in with some more sage. Probably about another 1/4 of a teaspoon. Some more black pepper. And then I'm going to stir. Alright. Now, my final additive is boiled egg. Now, I know some people don't, like boiled egg in their dressing. My mother does this. My sister does this. So, that's just how I do it. If you don't want boiled egg in your dressing, don't put it in there. But if you're following my recipe, I like it. And anybody who has ever really tasted my dressing actually likes it. You can't really taste the egg in there. You can see it, but it does something to amp up the flavor. I really don't know how to explain it. When the egg is not there, I notice that it's not there. So I just smash these up with a fork. So I literally just smashed them with a fork. I'm gonna dump them in there. Alright. So I'm gonna get that mixed up. Okay, so I'm gonna go in and add a little bit more of that low sodium chicken broth. And I had added a little bit previously to get it to the consistency I want. I like my dressing to almost be not quite like cornbread batter, but kind of similar, if that makes sense. Because again, once I put it in the oven, I'm going to bake this in the oven uncovered. So it'll dry out nicely. I just have to make sure the flavor is right. So real quick, I'm gonna taste it one more time. And I'm pretty happy with where everything is. So now, what I'm gonna do is go get my aluminum pan. I'm gonna get it sprayed down with some cooking spray and get this dressing dumped over in there. Okay, so here's my aluminum pan that I sprayed down with cooking spray. I am going to take my dressing mix and dump it over into my pan. Now I started to use a bigger roasting pan. That would have made the dressing a little bit thinner, so it would have cooked a little bit faster, but it's okay. This pan will be fine. So I'm just gonna smooth that out. And then I'm gonna pop this in the oven. It'll probably be in the oven somewhere in the neighborhood of 45 minutes to an hour. So I'm going to check it after 45 minutes, but I'm putting it in the oven on 350. So I'll see you guys in 45 minutes. So this is what the dressing looks like after about an hour in the oven. I cooked it on 350 for the first 30 minutes. I kicked it up to 400 for about 20 minutes. And then I dropped it down to 375 for the final 10 minutes to get that nice golden brown on it. So I'm going to take it out and so you can get a much closer view of it. Alright, so here's the final product. It's nice and brown and crisp around the edges and also the top. The inside should be moist but kind of firm. So I'm going to cut into it for you here just so you can see that. I hope you give this recipe a try. This is how my mother cooks dressing, my sister cooks dressing. And so it's something that we cook for every special occasion. And so I would love for you to try the recipe and cook it for your family. Again, thank you so much for visiting Notes from Nancy, and I'll see you next time. Hey guys, thank you for watching until the end of the video. I hope you learned something helpful that can help you in your kitchen. If you did, please let me know by liking this video below, leaving me a friendly comment, and also subscribing. And better yet, if you like what you see, don't forget to share with your friends. Until next time, bye guys.